Also, it's so remarkable to me. There's a moment, it's like Chekhov's Kleenex box, where there's a conversation about this Kleenex box and if it should be on the table or not, and it's not. And then Martha, you eventually go and get the Kleenex box and put it in front of Anne, like so angrily. It's like the most mad like gesture of have a Kleenex I've ever seen. And there's no dialogue there. It's not.
It gets a huge laugh. In the cinema,
Oh.
that got a laugh every time, which is an extraordinary thing to have a laugh in the middle of a moment of such heightened emotion.
But Martha, can you talk about that moment a little bit, to have something that is wordless? I'm not even sure how it would be scripted, and what could be a very simple gesture becomes so sort of complicated and full of meaning.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, as Reed said, as everyone said in their own way, I think, you know, Fran's script was so meticulous. There's not an extraneous word or moment or beat in the thing. It's just, it's masterful and it's meticulous. And I think when each of us read it, we all sort of find, you know, each of us as characters and you know, by extension as actors, we all can see where those little moments are, those little moments of frisson or whatever that, you know, again, like in a piece of music, you know, where there's a little bit of a crescendo or maybe a little bit of picking up the pace, or maybe there's a little bit of silence, you know. And I think that Anne and I just sort of navigated that part of the screenplay or that section of the scene in a natural and as natural a way as we could. And yeah. For me, I think that the, you know, I don't want to unpack it too much. I'd rather, you know, that people be able to see it and think about what it means to them when I put that Kleenex box down so firmly. But I think to me, it's a little bit of a few things. It's a little bit of, it's anger. It's also politeness. It's also sort of saying, you know, how dare you? You think, you know what I mean? You know, how dare you start sobbing right now? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's a little bit of all of those things. And I think that, you know, when Gail does it, when she does it, she maybe feels even a little bit guilty right after, you know? You know, your feelings or your emotions during the day, they're not static. They fluctuate. They move up and down. You know, you feel like a fool. You feel a fool, you know, when you've expressed something or you maybe said something out of turn or out of hand. You know what I mean?
It's just. But I don't know if you planned that moment, Martha. I don't remember ever there being a discussion about how to put the Kleenex box down. You just did it.
Yeah.
And then it's in the viewing, you're like, oh my God, this is so revealing. But it's like so much of the movie, we just were in it and we're just doing it.
And Martha, you know, it's funny when you say that, I took it, or I remember feeling a connection to you, meaning to Gail, that you were somehow seeing me, Linda. Mm-hmm. And letting me in.
It's a little bit of everything. It's a little bit of both things. Why I say, you know, it's anger and it's how dare you, but it's also, you know,
you're taking care of her.
Yeah, he needs a Kleenex, and also, you know, these people know each other, and Gail and Linda have a relationship that precedes coming into this room. They've written each other letters. They have a connection that began already, and so, you know, there's also that, you know. But I think what I'm trying to say is that there's something so marvelous about this screenplay because there's so much room for the actors. It's one of the most generous screenplays I've ever read for actors. And I think as actors, it's the kind of thing that you absolutely dream of receiving and being able to, you know, and being able to work on, being able to interpret.
You know, Martha, you say it's meticulously written, and it absolutely is, and yet it also feels like it's completely unfolding in an unwritten way.
Yes,
the way
it never felt like acting ever, did it?
No.
That's why Fran said it came from him improvising. You know, you could feel all those things.
I think that meticulousness makes that possible. I don't
Yeah.
think anything other than absolute attention and really being expert and really being specific and thoughtful and meticulous in that way. I think that's the only way to really afford that sort of naturalism in an ironic way,
There's a paradox, though, isn't there? It's like if you look at, sorry, Fran, for this slightly obnoxious comparison. If you look at Shakespeare, there's not only the brilliance on the page, but you can play scenes any one of 100 ways. With great writing, you could actually do it a million ways. You could have handled the tissues compassionately. Instead, the entire movie is in that moment. How fucking dare you make this about yourself when we've come here so that I can, and I know where I need to get to, and I know what my husband's thinking I ought to be doing right now. All those layers are in that moment. And the screenplay allowed you to do that. It didn't say she slams the tissue box down. But in any moment, the stem cell of the entire movie can be there as an actor if you want it to be.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's the most pretentious thing I've ever said about anything I've ever said.
It's pretty good, Jason. Pretty good. Pretty out there.